What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the CheezeTalk podcast. I'm your host, Brian, and about damn time, my host or my guest. I've been trying to get him on for a long time now, and things keep coming up, and life happens. But here we are, talking the Packers. My buddy Amar Deisel, diehard Packer fan. What's going on, man?
I'm great, man. I'm great, man. How are you, man? It's been a long time coming, man. You look
Yeah,
good,
it has.
man.
It's been a few years in the making for sure. Um, but yeah, we're just gonna be talking about the Packers, obviously, and what were your thoughts on the season last year? Like a quick overview of what you took in after last year.
It just felt like it was a season that had a lot of promise, but there was a lot of pieces that were probably missing. The injuries didn't help to our quarterback, to other guys, as well as it just didn't feel like the Packers were on the same trajectory as they were ending 2023, right? Like it just felt very, very disjointed. And at times, this felt like they were just trying to get through the season, hoping that it can catch a spark that never caught.
Right. And I think a lot too. I think Jordan Love, I think his uh his leg injury and his groin injury, I think that hampered him more than we think. And
Absolutely.
that's we had a good outlook for the season last year. Then that game in Brazil, and I'm gonna stand on that hit was still dirty, I think, by Jalen Carter and the other guy. I'll die on that hill.
No, I know. I completely agree with you on that one. I go back and watch it again. He dies right at his knee, and I'm sorry. Before that injury, did Jordan have? Jordan was playing pretty well. It wasn't a bad game. The fact is that if they didn't take him out at that moment, there's a strong possibility we could have driven down and probably, may won the game. At that point, we didn't have McManus. So we still had Narvdog, which wasn't really working out for us too well there. But I agree with you. Jalen Carter has proven to be not the most humble and respectable player when it comes to being dirty or not dirty. He just reminds me a lot of Ndamukong Suh to a degree, right? He's
Yeah.
Sue is a uberly talented player, just like Carter is. There's no denying his talent, but definitely definitely skirts the line when it comes to trying to do some things that he probably shouldn't do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he's even showing this year that he's on that track of having that reputation for sure.
Absolutely.
Um, so fast forward to the draft. What were you hoping for as far as who the Packers were kind of looking to get as far as positional?
I mean, honestly, I wanted a corner. I wanted Will Johnson because he was falling. But my receiver that I wanted was Emeka Igbuka. I was all in Igbuka, and he was my next son after Jackson Smith and Jigba. And so I was like, when we drafted Lucas Van Ness and Jigba was still there, that one still hurts to me till this day. Even though Lucas Van Ness has really come on strong this year, so maybe I'm going to eat some crow for that. But no, Mr. Igbuka was my guy. Like I loved him to death, and the fact that Tampa drafted him right before us, I kind of feel like okay. They did a lot of work on him. They had him in for a pre-draft visit. They were at his pro day, and I felt like people are like, "Oh, he's a slot guy." They weren't gonna draft a first round receiver in a slot. I'm like, you know what? Ibuka could do everything. JSN had the same thing. He was considered a slot guy too, and he's playing exclusively on the outside and leads the league in reception yards right now. So for me, I think that Ibuka was my guy. And I had kind of, when Golden got picked, I was like semi upset. But then when I went back and started looking at the tape, and I'm like, wait, we got like a steal, right? I felt like, wow, this kid, it's the fact that he runs fast 40, but it's not just that though. It's like he was able to do everything in Houston as well as in Texas. And the thing that got me was I felt like he couldn't even really open up as a receiver because Quinn Evers doesn't have an arm that like Jordan Love does. So
Right.
I've poo pooed on a lot of Mr. Goody's picks. I wasn't a big fan of Morgan. I still not a big fan of Morgan, but I feel like he did knock it out of the park with Golden.
Yeah, for sure. He showed glimpses, especially last weekend against the Cleveland Browns. That one catch where he looks back now and he's like, "Yeah, I probably could have kept on going downfield," but I mean, I mean, he'll get there. I think he has the speed and talent to be great.
He was the
For
only guy
sure.
that was catching the ball in preseason, right? Like when you looked into preseason, we were seeing like drops again, and I was like, here we go. But he just there's something about him, his aura. Like he has like aura about him that just looks like he's just destined to be great. And I know the Green Bay Packers have tend to like bring rookies along slowly. I just hope they don't do that, and I hope that this week, in Dallas, we have a shot for a homecoming game from. He's from Texas, right? So I'm just hoping
Yep.
that he gets featured. And but I'm not gonna lie, I was really happy about the Golden pick. I wasn't too keen on the Belton pick at the second round because when he got drafted, right, we could have got. I mean, Will Johnson, we could trade up and got Johnson. We still could have gotten Trey Amos, who's been playing really well in Washington. So there was some guys that I want, but I mean, so far our corners have been playing pretty well. And then now that Nate Hobbs is back and healthy, I'll be honest, he's been pretty damn good. So I'll take it.
Yeah. I don't know how to take or how to translate Keyshawn Nixon this year. It's like
Same.
one game is like goddamn, he's like an all pro. And the
Yep.
next game is like he's 10 yards behind the receiver. It's like, man, come on.
Just he's been playing well in his.
Yep.
I remember last year with Keyshawn, it was very up and down, right? And that was what was bothering me because I'm like, okay, we're gonna go in now another year where he's gonna be the cornerback one, and he's not gonna do what got him kind of the fame, which was the kick returns, right? And so I was definitely concerned about it. But this year, him and Carrington, for the most part, have been playing it exceptionally well, right? Same thing with Nate Hobbs, too. They've had some moments, but for the most part, they've done pretty well. Like, I mean, honestly, in the last 3 games, our defense has been absolute lights out. So I'm going to
Yeah.
take him, so.
What I'm saying too, I mean, guess not what I'm saying, but what I've observed in training camp and the talk
Oh,
around up
yeah,
here,
yeah,
up here
yeah.
in Green Bay, they had to scale Nate Hobbs back because he was like going for like murder hits, like trying to take out his own teammates, which is cool, but kind of scale it back and save it for enemies. Um,
Absolutely.
and you mentioned the first 3 games this year, our defense was good going into the season, but I think what's making Hobbs and Keyshawn Nixon and even all of our secondary so much better is with the addition of Micah Parsons, we're getting to that quarterback so much faster, and we're forcing him to show his hand like within that 2 to 3 second window where you want to get to that quarterback and force him to make a bad throw or a hurry up decision, which hopefully he makes a mistake. So that's huge. You know what I'm saying? And that first game against Detroit where they showed that stat where with Parsons, what was it? With Parsons was in the game, there's like 2.4 seconds they were getting to the quarterback, and when he wasn't in the game, it was almost 4 seconds before they're getting to that. That second and a half makes a huge difference.
I mean, you're not lying. I mean, look what happened to us this past weekend with the Browns, right? Like where, you know, you look at a guy like Myles Garrett, who honestly is probably one of the best defensive ends in the league right now. Him and
Yep.
Parsons are probably 1A, 1B, right? But what I love about Garrett is he's so uberly talented. He's such a monster. He's such a beast, but he's also like a good player. Like he had the one issue with Mason Rudolph, right? And I think there was a little more stuff to that than we know. That's why he kind of popped off on him. But the guy could probably easily have broken Jordan Love 7 times over in that game. No, but for all the most part, all the hits were pretty legit. They were all good hits. They weren't like going over the top or trying to hurt him or anything. And what I realized about that game was you looked at the impact that both Parsons and Garrett had in that game.
Yeah.
Jordan had no time to throw, right? And that goes back to Jim Schwartz, who for the most part has had, Matt LaFleur's number just because of the way he plays defense, right? And he's able to get pressure with 4. And our offensive line probably had their worst. They had their worst appearance as an offensive line ever since grading has came out for PFF. It was
Yep.
pretty bad. So I'm with you. I think that when you have a premier pass rusher like that, you reap the benefits of it on the back end because then you remember how it was in training camp. We saw Javon Bullard just getting cooked. Remember play after play after play. Now he's in there in the regular season. He looks amazing. And why
Yep.
is that? That's probably because of what's been going on with Micah Parsons. And honestly, Micah Parsons' impact has affected everybody. Lucas Van Ness is playing better. Rashawn Gary's playing better. Devontae Wyatt's playing better. You're just seeing. You're seeing. I hate. You don't want to say Reggie White because Reggie White was a one of a kind, right? But the impact that a pass rusher like Garrett or Parsons have, you could just see how it just impacts the whole defense in a positive way.
For sure. I mean, yeah, you people are like, well, how could the Browns beat us? Well, Micah Parsons has the same effect on the rest of the defense as Myles Garrett has on his defense. So he's doing the same exact thing Parsons is doing for us. So I mean, you kind of gotta think about that too. And even like Rashawn Gary, 4.5 sacks. He's like almost halfway to his sack total from last year through 3 games.
Yep.
You know, and it's about damn time Lucas Van Ness steps up. I've been saying that for a couple of years. He's 6'5", like 275. Like, get in there and make a play, man. Let's go.
Yeah,
You're Hercules. God damn.
absolutely. I liked him coming out of Iowa. Like, don't get me wrong, I love anything that comes out of Iowa. I'm a big Iowa guy, even though like I'm an LSU dude. It's my college team. But when it comes to defensive players, when it just comes to friends, and the way he coaches that team, I just like that. I like a lot. You've rarely seen defensive guys, or even for that matter, some offensive players fail coming out of Iowa. Right? It just produced good players, right? And so I was pretty hyped about the Lucas Van Ness pick. I just didn't like the fact that we had JSN on the board and we didn't take him, and we took Van Ness, who was a part-time player in Iowa, right? That was my only knock on him. And then in his defense, he's had to go through a couple of defensive coordinators. He's had some injuries. That's probably impacted his growth a little bit. But hey, he has looked lights out in training camp and has translated into the regular season. So I'll take it. I'm all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still stoked for in the next 14 weeks of football, because I think we're going to get only better from here on out. Especially when hopefully they learn from their mistakes from last weekend. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's speaking of the offseason, so we kind of hit on Nate Hobbs. What are your thoughts on Aaron Banks and the re-signing of McManus?
So McManus, I was fine with. McManus was pretty clutch. He came in and literally turned our special teams around. He hasn't been clutch this year. He missed a kick in Lambeau when the weather was perfect. And then, yes, in the Cleveland game, yeah, the protection was terrible. Again, I am not a fan of Rick Bisaccia. I think he should have been fired. He should have retired. We should have went and got Rizzi when he was available after the Saints let him go, and not let the Bears get him. But the kick that he had, even though the protection broke down, it was a low kick. You could see it was a low kick. He needed to kick it high. Even the Cleveland Browns kicker, who missed a game winner the week before, he kicked the heck out of that thing. He kicked it like high as I don't know what. So I think McManus, he just needs to get back on track to what he was last year. When it comes to the Aaron Banks signing, when that notification popped up on my Twitter, I was upset then, and I was upset all through training camp because he's been banged up, and I'm upset now because we've paid him an ungodly amount of money, and he has not been anywhere close to worth it. He wasn't even that great when he was in the Niners, right? Like, for me, he was brought in probably because they saw we need to have like a piece there that, like, we don't want to be in the same situation like we were in the playoffs, right? When Elton went down, and then basically we were playing guys like, playing Glover, and we're playing, Telford and stuff like that, and our offensive line was garbage against like that front four. My problem was Aaron Banks just had it. He had familiarity with the system, but minus that, there was no need to overpay on that. Like Nate Hobbs, we paid a lot of money, but he's produced. When he's been on the field, he's
Right.
produced, right? Aaron Banks, I've been completely against that signing. I would have rather gotten there was a couple other guards that were available. I would have gotten them. Dalton Reisner was still out there. I would have grabbed him. He was a free agent. There was players that were there that you could develop, because guards, not to say they're dime or dozen, but average guard can become above average to an elite guard with the right coaching staff and the right tackle and center next to him, right? And
Right.
Aaron Banks right now, I understand our week 1 was the first time we had him and Tom out there as healthy, and we look great. But I'll be honest with you, that was a very underwhelming signing for me by Goody.
For sure. Speaking of Tom, what are your thoughts on him going in for one play last game and then going out? Obviously, I don't think he was ready to go back. Do you think it was his choice to go out there, or do you think he was told to go out there?
I think in one of the rare instances where the Packers believed their player over maybe their medical staff, and they're probably like, you know what, Zach, we think that a 75% Zach Tom is better than 100% Belton, right? And so they were like, all right, go out there. But he, one play and he was done. And for me, he didn't re-aggravate. So that's the good thing. But I'm with you. When I saw that he was active, I wasn't a fan of it. Because I was like,
Right.
I understand, like looking now back in hindsight, I can see why they did it because that pass rush was disgusting. They just embarrassed us. I mean, Mason Graham being a top 10 pick, you can see why he was top 10 picks. He's a monster. And then pairing him with freaking Garrett was just, I mean, we just had no answers for that defensive line. And that's Shorts, his Y9. He comes from a Jim Johnson defense. So he's used to like causing like all this kind of disruption on the front line. He's just a very, very good defensive coordinator with the right, defensive line staff that he has. But when it comes to that Tom, I was very unhappy about that because like he was literally on the bench crying. Like he was
Yeah.
he was crying from the pain or from the fact that he wasn't able to be out there for his guys. And this is my biggest issue. All right. So you knew Tom was out. The week before, Belton came in, played pretty decent. You traded a future 6 round pick for Kennard, who came in week 1 and played well. Why, in your rabbit mind, did you think that was a great idea to put Morgan on right tackle when he's never played right tackle? Right? He's
Yeah.
been a left tackle his whole career, going all the way back to high school. Then he's been in training camp, left tackle, left guard. But then you put him on the opposite side. I just think like this. These are the kind of things where I'm over Luke Butkus and I'm over Rich Bisaccia.
Yeah. And you got to think, discipline as well. All these
Yes.
penalties,
Oh
14
God.
penalties is crazy.
So I'm with you on that. Like that was like a repeat of last year because last year we just had nonstop injuries, nonstop penalties, right? I did see something that Bruce Irons had posted where he said like when the Packers were on offense, they had the PA on, and there was somebody with a freaking tambourine or something just going at it as we're trying to run through our play, and it's like artificial noise that's supposed to be illegal. So I wouldn't be surprised that played in a little bit into why we were struggling so bad on offense. But at the end of the day, you need to overcome that. You have a silent count, and that game was a very winnable game, and we just literally just shot ourselves in the foot.
Yeah. Like I coach youth football, and it's like, hey guys, on defense, watch the ball.
Yes,
This
that's it.
look down the line, ball moves, you move.
Absolutely, yes, 100%. Like, come on, this isn't that hard. Like, we just need to find a way to just really just go back to the basics when it comes to the way we play football. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Something so simple. You think with these guys making, 14, 15, whatever $1 million a year, they'd be able to, logically do it, but you never know.
You know what they always say? They say the other team gets paid too, and I get that logic, but part of me is kind of like, yeah, that's great, that's nice and dandy, but the truth is like even with that being said, like you can't. I think my most biggest frustration is just seeing a team who has done really well in the past have so much struggle in these situations where I feel like Coach LaFleur's been there long enough. He should be able to find a way to overcome these situations, right? Like when you knew in this game in particular against the Browns, you know they're going to be coming. You're going to be relentless. Offensive line's banged up. Your run game has been literally terrible because the blocking has been atrocious, and Jacobs is doing the best he can. You should have had quick game. You should have, and I know they tried so many different things. They tried sweeps, they tried motions, they tried kick game, they tried everything. But he got to a point where I was like, all right, well, you should have just made max protect and just played smash mouth football and just ran down their throat with everybody and just tried,
Right.
because you already knew that you weren't going to get anything off, right? You should just try something different because they were doing play action and the Browns didn't even respect it. They were just going right at Jordan. They didn't even care about the play action.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, they're getting to him so damn fast off that ball. It's just like it was hard to watch as a Packer fan for sure.
Oh man, I was beside myself. It was to a point where my kids ratted me out for cussing so much in the basement, and that my wife was like, "You gotta chill out with that. You got a 9 and 7 year old girl. You got can't be doing that." I'm like, "Yeah, you're right." I was just mad as hell. I have no excuse. But Ryan Wood said it best because he does a show with Dominique Yates and Tom Silverstein. Right? They do their 319 podcast, and they said that by the time that when they were in shotgun, by the time that the ball would hit Jordan's hand, they would be a Cleveland Brown in the backfield. Like
Yeah.
how you were saying like 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds, right? When Parsons was out there, that was Garrett basically. Garrett and Mason Graham were just destroying us up front. We had no answer for that, and it didn't matter who we put back there. I mean, I did not. I watched some of the tape, and I went back and watched that game, and I'm telling you, I've never seen how many times the Packers offensive lineman had been turned around, like just completely turned around because the guy beat them so clean off the line that they had no answer for it. And it's just like these are things that got to get fixed. If we
Yeah,
want to go far, we have to get these things fixed.
absolutely. Do you think that LaFleur and Goody are on the hot seat?
No, I think
No.
that I think the Parsons move saved Goody. Personally, I think it did. I think that he made that move because he knew he had to do something. I think them being 2-1 right now and beating Detroit and beating Washington, two playoff teams, pretty handedly has it was a good thing. And Cleveland Brown game was just not good. I think if they were to lose to Dallas and go into the bye week with another loss of a team that they should beat, that they're a favorite and all this and that, maybe because Ed Policy has said that he doesn't believe in lame duck coaches and GMs, so he likes to extend guys before that gets to that point. Now they're on the second and final year of their extensions, so basically this year will determine if they're going to get extended or not. So I wouldn't say hot seat per se, but I would say maybe semi lukewarm. But
Okay.
the season has to go out. You have to see how the season ends, right? Because that game was not good, and it really kind of exposed maybe LaFleur to a certain degree about his ability to overcome a situation like that. Um, Goody has done all the right things, minus the Aaron Banks signing. He's kind of he's given LaFleur all the right weapons, right? Like so. Goody does have so basically Goody just needs the old draft classes to hit, right?
Right.
Because you always say if you draft someone now, 3 years from now is when they're supposed to hit. That's what he needs now. If that happens, if the draft class from 2022 and 2023 hit now, we still see those guys produce. All right, you might be working with something. And then Goody's going to be fine. I think the Parsons trade, he saved his bacon for at least a couple of years. I think he'll get extended. Now LaFleur, being good enough in the regular season and not getting it done in the playoffs for multiple years, that could be something that maybe the organization might be getting sick of.
Yeah, for sure. I just think that he's just got to get. Hopefully, this year he can get past that. Win more than one game in the playoffs. And get past that NFC Championship game for
Absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely.
With our healthy cornerbacks, if and when they're all healthy at the same time, who do you think is our cornerback number one? Nate Hobbs?
No, I mean, I still think it's Keyshawn. Keyshawn's probably number one corner. I think Hobbs is going to be our slot. He's going to be our number one slot, probably.
Okay.
I can see Hobbs being the number one. We're paying him like a number one, but we're also paying Keyshawn to be a number one too, right? I think when it's all said and done at the end of the season, hopefully, knock on wood, we're Super Bowl champs. I think that Carrington Valentine will probably be the number one corner based on
Okay.
numbers, based on production, things like that.
What was your initial thought on the release of Jair Alexander, and then coming to see what's happening to him now in Baltimore?
Oh, I was
Obviously, Goody in the organization know what they're doing.
I've eaten crow for that. I've eaten a lot of crow in the last couple of weeks because of that. Because I made some comments where I'm like, "Oh, look, Nate Hobbs can't play Week 1, but Jair can," and Jair got exposed. Like I don't know what in that game against the Bills. It was pretty bad. So I've been a Jair guy since day one. I've loved him since 2018. I bought his jersey. I've been his biggest fan. He is my short king. That's my dude. All right. Now, was I upset when they released him? Absolutely. But on the flip side, too, though, I felt like his whole knee injury was completely mismanaged. I don't know if that's because of him. I don't think it's because of Pat McKenzie, but we did see the same kind of situation occur with Dave. But the problem with Dave Bakhtiari was he even said that he wanted to forego a certain surgery when it came to his knee. He was hoping to let it recover. There was something that kind of went fishy with it. So where they had to go back in there multiple times to clean it up, and it just didn't get fixed, right? But the truth of the matter is that I wasn't happy about Jair getting cut. Um, I was a big Jair guy, but on the flip side too, though, I was really happy that he ended up in Baltimore because he's with the guy, he's with Lamar Jackson. They play together. I
Yep.
believe they're best friends. I mean, you can still go back to the 2018 draft when Jair got drafted. We traded backwards, then back up to get him. And then when Lamar got drafted, and how happy he was for Lamar. Those are kind of the things about Jair that I think people kind of forget, that he's a really good dude, and he just had a really good person. I mean, before his shoulder injury again, that Najee Harris destroyed his shoulder in 2021. I mean, Jair was literally a top 5 corner, if not maybe top 3. Like he literally turned that game around against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers NFC Championship game in 2020. If it
Yeah.
wasn't for those 2 picks, we wouldn't have stood a chance that game. Too bad the offense couldn't have done anything. That's old news. Don't get me wrong, um, but what I was gonna say is, I'm a big Jair guy. I'm hoping that he can somehow get past this knee thing in Baltimore and go back to the old Jair, because I've always been his fan. I always will be. I will be rooting for him every week, except the weeks that he's playing. The week they'll be playing us. Other than that,
Do
though, I'll root for him. And Nate
yeah.
Hobbs, I was not keen on Nate Hobbs signing, but I have a lot of friends who are from California and who are diehard Raiders fans who aren't very happy that the fact that the Raiders are in Vegas now. But they all told me Nate Hobbs is a dog. He's an extremely talented player. He unfortunately is injury ridden. And I'm like, okay, well then we just got rid of an injury ridden corner. We brought another injury ridden corner that doesn't really help. But so far, Nate Hobbs has been pretty legit.
Yeah. I'm on the boat with you. I mean, I love Jair when he was playing, but you gotta look back the past 2 seasons. Whatever he's missed 17 games in the last 2 or 3 seasons,
Yes, yes,
and
absolutely.
you're not gonna want to pay somebody, invest money in somebody that's not going to give you anything in return. And
Correct.
at some point, you're just like, it's a business. It's like you hate to do it, but um, and then you see that he's dealing with the same injury that kind of held him out in Green Bay. It's like, the kind of, well, the Packers are right by doing what they did, and
Yeah,
like you said, I'm glad he's in Baltimore with Lamar. So
yeah,
that's the one silver lining with everything, I guess.
yeah. 100%. It's one of those things where I'm excited for him. I hope that I don't know if he's a healthy scratch or what, but the knee's been not right for him. I just need him to get his knee right and then just get back on track. That's it. That's it. I just need to see him. I just need to see him be the Jair that I know he can be. That's it. I just want to see
Right. I
this.
mean, it's crazy because he was like all of training camp. And then what was it, week one, like the week of the game, they brought him back for a few days of practice. And then,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he pretty much, like you said, he got just obliterated against the Bills, and it's just, why would you put your player in that kind of position? Make sure he's game ready before you just go throw him into the fire. It's kind of a
Yeah.
crappy thing with the Ravens to do to him, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm with you, brother. I'm with you, man. One of the things I feel like it was a little bit of both. I feel like it was a little bit of him, maybe because he's like, I need to be out there week one. They brought me in here. I want to prove that I'm healthy. And unfortunately, first game back, he hadn't really played a lot of football. So he had to get his legs up under him. And unfortunately, it was against the Bills team that was hell bent on being the Ravens again.
Yeah, the Bills. I mean, they're looking pretty good this year. I think they're gonna come out on top over the Chiefs in the overall AFC picture for sure. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think that the Chiefs they're not even a contender to me at this point. I feel like their dynasty has ended. I feel like they're starting to come to see the unfortunate reality of the fact that Travis Kelce is no longer the player he used to be. That if they're waiting for Rashid Rice to come back, then that's not good, because like you've drafted guys and you've have other players there and they need to step up and they're not. And then Mahomes, he just doesn't look right. There's something wrong. The offensive line they've been investing in the offensive line. They got a first round pick over there in Josh Simmons. But even then though, they haven't really been able to keep up their protection. On top of that, Mahomes, even when I'm seeing him load up and try to throw the ball deep, it doesn't look good. And that guy has a rocket for an arm. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know what's going on with him. But I just know that um, the Chiefs to me are not what they've been the last few years, and they've proven that. I think that the Bills are probably going to be by themselves right now. I feel like maybe Ravens can get up in there, but they have a lot of issues on defense. I don't know what's going on there with that defense, but that does not look like a Baltimore Ravens defense to me at all.
Yeah, it's and it's such a high with the Bills and the Ravens, such a high scoring game.
Yeah, yeah,
And what were the Chiefs or not the Chiefs? The Bills are down by with like 4 minutes to go. They're down by what, 15
yeah.
points, and they came back and won. That's what you call a total collapse in the last.
Henry, man, Derrick Henry had like a literally. He blew up on that defense, which he always does. But then he had the most untimely fumble, and he never fumbles. And now he's fumbled in every game this season. And it's
Yeah,
just like I don't know what's going on with him. Even in the last game, this boy fumbled, and after he fumbled, he like couldn't even fall on the bench correctly. And I'm a big Derrick Henry guy. I draft him in every single one of my drafts. I can get him in fantasy football, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing? This is not the King Henry that I know right now. What is going on here, dude?
Yeah, I remember out back like I mean he's still running the ball good, but
Yeah.
back remember when they came to Lambeau was at the Titans
Mm-hmm.
and it was like a snow game and the
Yeah.
Packers held them for like 3 yards of carry, which
Yeah.
I thought that was remarkable,
Yeah.
and I think that's the game where Aaron Jones is out and we had AJ Dillon as a running back
Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
had like
Reggie White.
a career. So yeah, he can definitely hurt you on defense, but yeah, it's crazy to see like he's fumbling the ball in key games. The guy that never fumbles the ball is just spilling the rock left and right.
Absolutely. I was gonna say like Derek, that game. I remember that was like 2020 or 2021. It was 2021, yeah. And I remember that was a coming out game for AJ Dillon, and then he didn't do anything after that. He was just nothing, right? And a part of me was like, damn, like that was it. And but yeah, that was that game where we expected Derrick Henry to run all over us, and we shut him down. That was one of the things where Joe Barry, for as much as I hated that man, he did have some moments where he was able to step up the defense. But overall, he was a terrible, terrible defensive coordinator.
For sure. Well, going into week 4, what are your thoughts on the first 3 games so far this year?
I think that when we came out against Detroit the way we did, I understand Detroit's been putting up like 50 burgers on people right now. I just feel like maybe we caught Detroit the right time. Aiden Hutchinson was just gained his feet up under him. But I was very impressed with the way we shut that offense down. And we had no problem with that shutting that offense. And then we were able to, they're common opponents. So, the fact that we were able to take advantage of their defense, I was happy about that. The Washington game was also impressive, considering the fact that I'm a big Jane Daniels guy, but we were able to stymie him for the majority of the game. And that they did get some couple lucky touchdowns at the end of the game. But based on a missed tackle by both Quay Walker as well as Javon Bullard, I think. Or no, Quay and Xavier, I think both had missed tackles. But other than that, though, all in all, defense is still pretty good. And then the Cleveland Browns game, it was a clunker game. But almost, I hate to say it, week 3 trap game almost, right?
Yeah.
But in Cleveland's defense, their offense has not been great. Okay, that's true, right? But Quinshon Judkins is a new player that basically had not been there for week 1 and barely was there for week 2. Okay, so we got to see a full taste of him in week 3. I think you're going to see him probably slowly, but maybe become a potential front runner for Rookie of the Year if he keeps this up, because that offense is so putrid without him. So he's going to be RB1, right? And Cleveland, I was talking on the Coast to Coast Packers show that Cleveland Browns was going to be the team that I feel like we're going to be playing a good defense. So, unfortunately, we didn't step up to the challenge, right? But the fact is, that was a defense that I was hoping that we could take advantage of. We couldn't. And I feel like, if anything, we learned a lot of lessons from that game. And we need to take those into Dallas, because Dallas's defense is not good. And to avoid a shootout, we need to score as many points as possible and then make sure that Micah Parsons has a sweet homecoming game back home.
Right. Speaking of Parsons, and you kind of touched on the Lions game in week 1. I'm gonna play a clip from that game, and I wanna get like what was going through your head during this play. Okay.
Okay.
2nd and 10. He's being chased by Parsons. Look out! He's got him. His first sack as a Green Bay Packer.
It reminded me of like like a horror movie, and like Jason or Michael just walking somebody down and just tackling them. I loved it. It was like thinking about like a great white shark from Jaws, just coming to hunt. Like, just anything you can think of, a lion attacking a gazelle. When I watched that play live when it happened, I was just like, I had goosebumps. I'm not gonna lie, I had goosebumps. It was just,
Yeah.
wow. Like, that's what we've been missing on defense all this time. A guy
And
who could just take over a defense.
Yeah, we're going into 4 weeks into the season, and I'm still thinking to myself, we really have Micah Parsons? We really? I mean, come on, you know.
Right?
And then you got Jerry Jones like downplaying it, like, oh, you know, it's just Micah Parsons. You know, we didn't win a title with him, so you know we know how to block him. So I think
He has to
I'd love
come.
to see Parsons get like 4 or 5 sacks against the Cowboys and just you
Yes.
know just I posted that picture on X of Tucker Kraft with AT&T Stadium in the background on fire, and you know, he said he wants to burn people's childhood homes down and everything, and
Tucker's
I
a
just
beast, dude. I love Tucker, man. The things that he says to people is insane to me, but you need that kind of crazy on your team. I'm sorry, you need that kind of crazy.
kind of crazy. I think it's awesome. And you got the pictures of Tucker Kraft like on the back of a tailgate truck with a cigarette in his hand, holding the beer. You know, I mean, come on,
Yes,
that's
I
my
love
tight
it.
end.
He's legit the most Wisconsin guy I've ever met who's not from Wisconsin. Honestly, straight up. Like
Close enough.
they
You
were
went to
like,
North Dakota, right?
yeah, he's like, oh, his knees hurt. Give him his medicine, a cigarette and a beer. I'm like, might need to, might need to.
Um, Kind of reflecting on the Micah Parsons trade. Like, what do you think? Like, what do you think caused his disgruntledness in Dallas?
So back in the summer, I had I do a radio show with Trey from Wisco Sports on ESPN, and I had said it back in June. I was like, hey, don't be surprised if Packers are in on Trey Hendrickson and or Parsons. And it's funny, you find out now, you know, here September we found out that they were in on both guys, right? I think that Jerry Jones has a very old school way of doing things. He thinks that he can he's proven this time and time again. He is gonna wait till the last minute to do stuff. I don't know if it's just like ego. I don't know if it's callousness. I don't know if it's just laziness. I don't know what it is. But basically, he waited till last minute to extend Dak after doing the franchise tag on him twice, paying him way too much, all this crazy money. CD waited till last minute and paid the top market for him. And then when it came to Micah, went to him last year. His team went to him last year for an extension. He could have had him at 36 a year. But like Jerry Jones always does, A, he didn't want to do it then. And then B, he decided to have a closed door conversation with Micah without his agent and then
Yeah,
try to get a handshake deal. And I'm like, bro, this isn't the 50s and 60s anymore. You can't do that. I was like, if Micah was representing himself, okay, maybe, but that's not the case here. And I think that the lack of respect, a guy like Micah, young dude, smart dude, he can see it, right? He can see the disrespect. He can see the lack of just concern when it came to like Jerry trying to make it kind of like movement on this deal, and he just got sick of it. Probably just got to a point where he's like, "The heck with it! If you're not going to pay me and you're going to play these games with me, and I've proven that I'm a pretty valuable player on your team, then why should I stay here?" Right? Like I'm with you. Here we are on week 4, and I'm still pinching myself that we have Micah Parsons on our team. Like I was a
yeah,
big fan of his coming out of Penn State. When he was coming out, I was like hoping to God that we can get him, but I was hoping he'd fall because he had all
he
that stuff. You know, he had that stuff coming out, and he got drafted like a pick or two before us.
yeah he. I mean, he wore the same number as LeVar Arrington at Penn State, and
Yes,
he's like what we all thought LeVar was going to be when LeVar came out of college. You know,
absolutely.
he had a hell of he had a hell of a career with the Redskins.
Yeah,
But I mean, I just Parsons is like on that next level, and people are like, "Oh, Parsons, he didn't. What has he done? He's what 12 and a half sacks
yeah.
a year
Four
for
years,
4 years. That who was the only other person to do that?
Reggie
Reggie
White.
White.
Yep.
I mean, that's if that's not big in somebody's eyes, and I guess you know people don't know their history.
I think that the ones that make those kind of comments are coping with the fact that their team didn't get him or didn't
Yep.
keep him. And because of that, Cowboys fans, Lions fans, Vikings fans, Bears fans, a lot of them are going to be talking that trash because they're so upset that their GMs didn't make the move to get this dude for 2 first-round picks as a defensive tackle. And
Right.
he, again, Jerry being his feelings and feeling a certain kind of way, he said, "The heck with it. I'm just going to make the deals. I don't care anymore." Right? And I'm going to figure out how to – because think about it like this. You make this trade, you do make a team that's basically beating you every single year, knocked you out of playoffs for how many years straight, right? And then you make this deal. They always say any kind of publicity, good or bad, is good publicity, right? Negative or positive. It gain your name, team in the news and keep it in the news cycle. it's good for business, right? So maybe that's what Jerry was thinking. All right, I'm going to trade him to a prolific team. I'm going to give him the final piece to them. And guess what? They're going to keep talking about the Cowboys. So either way, people are going to still be talking about us, and the diehard fans are going to still keep buying paraphernalia. Maybe that's all he cares about. He talks. I don't think he cares about Super Bowls. If he did, he would have kept Parsons. He would have found a way to pay all his guys early, and he would have been drafting a heck of a lot better than what he's doing right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's just comical, like the storyline or like the timeline of how it all happened. I remember I met up with Joe Pearson from you know,
Yeah, yeah,
Atlanta Packers.
yeah.
He was up before the last preseason game at
Yeah.
Lambeau, so I met up with him and a couple other guys, and towards the end of the practice or whatever, and they're getting ready for the preseason game there, and they're lighting off fireworks off the top of the stadium. And I made a joke like, "Oh, they're doing that because they're getting ready for the announcement of the Micah Parsons trade," and everyone just laughed at me, you know. And then the next week, Parsons is coming to Green Bay, So it's just and even like Parsons, that preseason game where he's walking in eating nachos, he's falling asleep on the trainer's table, and it's just you knew he already checked out.
He was done. He was done. Like he was, and then hey, tell. Like honestly, like you can only you did this with CeeDee Lamb too. The problem is CeeDee Lamb eventually came to a table and eventually decided to take the deal that Dallas gave us. Right? CeeDee could have probably pushed his way out too if he wanted to. Same thing for Dak. Both those guys could have just said the heck with this. I want out. But you know what? They're like, well, they're gonna give me the money I want eventually, so let's just take it. Right? Parsons got to a point where he's like, the heck with this, and his agent David Moretta is a beast. He just knows what he's doing. He's a very smart man. He got top-notch contracts for Jordan, got top-notch contracts for Tua. He got another top-notch contract for Micah. He's just proving time and time again that he's going to get the most for his players, right? And he probably, you can't do this stuff, behind the scenes. You can't like talk to players that aren't on your team or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if they had a lot of this stuff already worked out with Green Bay. They just need to get a trade compensation done. That was it.
Right, and I mean, and you mentioned Love, McKinney. He has the same
Oh,
agent,
McKinney too. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah.
and then even then, you can't tell me as some way, shape, or form that McCarthy was involved in some way too.
He might
Mike
have been. I mean,
McCarthy.
I from what I understand, LaFleur did talk to someone who had institutional knowledge about Micah Parsons. I wouldn't be surprised if it was McCarthy, right? McCarthy's a Green Bay dude through and through. I don't care. He might be from Pittsburgh. He may have coached Dallas for a couple of years, but that man is Green Bay through and through. He back living in Green Bay right now.
Yeah,
He's
he
back
is.
living right now. I'm like, he's Wisconsin, man. He ain't Pittsburgh. He's Wisconsin.
That dude's huge too. Like so, now my freshman daughter was it her first communion
Yeah.
years ago? We're
Mhm.
sitting there in church, and I'm waiting in line with her to get her first communion picture taken at the altar with the priest, and
Yeah.
the girls in front of me or whatever. Then I look up and like, oh my god, it's Coach McCarthy. He's like 6'5", like
Is
whatever.
he a
He's a
big dude like that?
big dude. Yeah,
Wow.
he's
I didn't know
huge.
I didn't know he was that big. Dude, okay.
But yeah, he's back living in Green Bay. So
Yeah. Well,
it's kind
happy
of
he's back
cool.
home.
What's that?
I'm happy he's back home.
Yeah, they had him out at the last game against the.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, for that they
But
were remembering the Super Bowl team.
yeah, that's kind of cool. Seeing
Yep,
all the old heads coming out.
absolutely, man. I was like, yo, sign me up, man. Sign me up.
How do you think the NFC North will finish this year, 1 through 4?
I mean, personally, I hope that the Packers are on top. I hope that we can take back the division. Not that it's important to us because at the end of the day, we talk about championships. We don't talk about division titles like Detroit Lions and Vikings do. I think that Detroit's going to be number 2, if not number 1. If they somehow get top us somehow, who knows, right? But I think Detroit is not going away. If anything, I did feel like they're going to take a step back because they lost both coordinators. They did play 2 teams that, playing Chicago is whatever. Chicago's garbage to me. But when it comes to like playing Ravens and doing what they did to Ravens, I was impressed, I have to admit. So we'll be see if they can keep that up, right? And then, of course, when it comes to Minnesota and Chicago, it's going to be 2 dum-dums fighting for 3rd and 4th place, honestly, because, I feel like Ben Johnson's a good OC. A time to tell us if he's a good head coach, right? And Chicago does play against Vegas this week, so we'll see what happens with that. Vegas' defense is not that great, but the defense has taken a big hit for Chicago, losing Jalen Johnson for the year due to a groin injury. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out because Minnesota's defense is still top tier. Brian Flores is a beast. He knows what he's doing. And I feel like on offense, Aaron Jones is already out, unfortunately. My boy hurt his hamstring again, so he's out for 4 weeks. But they've gotten a lot of utilization out of Carson Wentz. But again, I think it should be always known that they played against the Bengals, and the Bengals defense is atrocious. Minus Trey Hendrickson, the rest of that defense is not good. So it'll be interesting to see how this Minnesota team fares against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin on Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. Like, I'm gonna kind of hop on with you and say, yeah, either the Packers or Lions, and then the Vikings and the Bears.
Yeah.
Bears finished last. I always joke that, obviously, I don't like any of the Chicago sports teams. The only thing I like about Chicago is like their pizza.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
And some of the Twitter users I follow on X, and that's about it. and their skyline. I love their skyline.
Yeah, skyline's great. Magic Bean is good. I've been to Chicago with my wife. It was great. The food's amazing. Nightlife is great. But yeah, minus that though. Yeah, the only thing that I liked out of Chicago was Michael Jordan. That was it. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Yeah, I think I have a connection to Chicago because when my ancestors came over from Italy, that's where they ended up, is down in like the Cook County area in Chicago. So it's
okay.
I still got a lot of family down there. So
okay,
it's always fun to joke back and forth with them.
I love that. Hey, nothing wrong with it. You got some heritage there. Nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Let's do some quick Packers rapid fire, and then we'll conclude the show. How's that sound?
Sounds good to me, brother.
Will Micah Parsons get 12 plus sacks this year?
Yes.
Who do you think will get more sacks, Parsons or Rashawn Gary?
Ooh, I want to say Gary because I feel like they're doing everything they can to include having a water boy out there and block Parsons. Like they got running backs, tight ends, offensive linemen, and the quarterback team might try to chip them for all I know. But I feel like with all that attention being given to Parsons, you're going to see guys like Lucas Van Ness, Rashawn Gary, Devontae Wyatt, even JJ Igumbare. You're going to see them put up numbers because of that.
Yeah, for sure. Adrian Cooper as well. He's coming up.
Yeah, that's another guy. That's a beast that I completely forgot about. Absolutely.
In your eyes, what is more iconic, Curly Lambeau or Vince Lombardi?
Ooh. You can't have the Green Bay Packers without Curly Lambeau. And you can't have the championships without Lombardi. I would say Curly because he is the founder.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah, I love them both, and the trophy is named after Lombardi because of what he did for Green Bay, what he did in Green Bay, right? But also everything he stood for, the kind of person he was, just everything about him was he was beyond his time. And I love that about that man. But when it comes to the existence of the Green Bay Packers, I mean, Curly Lambeau was the reason why that even started up. So I'll go Curly there. But it's a very 1A, 1B kind of thing.
Right. Speaking of, the history of the Packers, you've been to Lambeau Field, obviously, correct?
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that 50-foot replica Lombardi trophy in the atrium?
I thought it was a little crazy, but I loved it because it just shows like how we truly are title town, no matter how much they want to give it to like Belichick or Patriots or freaking Chiefs, whatever they want to do. End of the day, no, Green Bay Packers are title town, and the Lombardi Trophy is named after our coach for what he did. So for me, that statue I thought was pretty crazy, but I'll take it. I was like, you know what, like. It's something that it's kind of gaudy and it's kind of corny, but it's also like a stick to the thumb to all the other teams that have never won one or haven't won one in the last like 20, 30, 40 years. So yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, you mentioned that, and I always tell people that aren't Packer fans or whatever, and they always bag on the Packers. It's like, even if you're not a Packer fan, if you ever came to Green Bay, you have to respect the history. Absolutely. Take a Hall of Fame tour, take a stadium tour. Just everything that's happened in the NFL history with the Packers, and even when I went to the NFL draft this year, just people are just like talking about how great and like what they thought of Green Bay and like how cool it was. Such a small town, city, whatever you want to call it, can attract over 600,000 people, and it's just being at the draft. Like initially, I wasn't going to go, and then it's like, screw it, I'm going. Like I went day 2 and day 3, and it's just taken back. It's I guess I always consider myself fortunate. I never thought I'd be living 10 miles or 10 minutes from I don't even live 10 miles. I live like 10 minutes from Lambeau Field, right? So I'm originally from Madison, Wisconsin, and my wife is from Green, the Green Bay area, and we moved up here after we got married. But it's like, just to be able to drive here in Green Bay, it's like, it's so cool just to be able to see Lambeau. It's just it's awesome.
You can't take it for granted. I think like I was trying to come up for the draft this year, I just couldn't make it happen. I regret that now. But I have to admit, like, my last time I went to Green Bay was in 2013. It was for the Packers Philadelphia game, and it was the week after Rodgers had broke his collarbone. So I had to watch Scott Tolzien out there, Seneca Wallace for one play, and then Scott Tolzien for like the rest of the game. It was terrible. But it was fun though. Like I had an amazing experience. And I definitely want to do it again because like I didn't get to experience lot one. I didn't get to, now that I'm like friends with a lot of people, because at that time I was just developing my brand and like, on Twitter and stuff like that. But I mean, now I have so many friends that are like, so many people that I know that are on Lambeau Field around there, Corey Banke and Aaron Nagler and all them. And then like folks like you and everybody else, where if I come through, I want to see all you guys and hang out and just like make a weekend out of it. You know what I'm saying? Just really enjoy myself.
Yeah, I'll be the designated driver.
Sounds good to me. I might need it. I might need it because Uber's gonna probably bust me up. So yeah,
be dragging you down the street, getting you in the vehicle.
you might need to drive me out a couple places. That's for sure.
Which team has the most annoying fan base?
Oh man, that's tough. I think in the off season it's the Bears because they always win the off season and they're annoying as I don't know what. There's particular fans in Philadelphia that I know personally that drive me absolutely insane. But for most part, I like the Philly fans. They're pretty cool. Like the fans that I know through Twitter, social media, and then people that I know personally that I'm very, very close with, those are my people. So at the end of the day, I think, every fan base has fans that are just annoying as I don't know what. I do think Detroit's fine too. Like Detroit, they're brand new. There's some fans like that Slick guy and some other people that are just really annoying and just a bunch of haters and trolls. But there's a lot of amazing Detroit fans, a lot of amazing Chicago Bears fans. Like there's some that are pieces of crap, but there's some that are really good. Vikings fans, they're just annoying because they haven't done anything. They got nothing to show for themselves. I'm trying to think, like annoying fan base, man. You know who it was for a long time was the Patriots. The Patriots were really annoying because like they kept winning, and these guys were just like so up their butts. But then now that they're not like winning, they're just like they don't even say anything anymore. They just literally live in the glory days of Tom Brady because they ain't got nothing else to show for themselves. I'm trying to think. You got me stumped on that. I don't know now. Like who's annoying?
Like you said, there's annoying fan bases in every team, every sports team. It's just ones that stick out more than others. It depends on, I guess it depends on how the team is doing. You got fans that are quiet when their team's doing crappy, and you got fans that are super loud when they're doing good. So I mean, I'm sure there's Packer fans like that too.
Yeah, but I be talking trash from game to game to end of the game. I'm like Michael Jordan said it. Michael's like, if you could talk trash when you up, that's great. Can you talk trash when you down? And I took that as a personal mission of mine. I say, okay, if I'm going to talk trash, I'm going to talk trash the whole freaking game. And if we lose, we lose. But if we win, we win. But I was like, these fans that wait till they're up. There's a Philadelphia fan that I know in particular. He waits till they're up, and then he starts talking his trash. I can't do it. I have no respect for that whatsoever. I think that is the most chicken crap thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah, there was when I had that post last year. I don't know if you remember. I was talking about it earlier about that hit on Jordan Love. Yeah. I made that post. I don't care what you say. This is a cheap, dirty shot or whatever.
I retweeted it. I said yes.
it had like 1.2 or 1.3 million impressions, and my inbox was flooded with messages and stuff that It's just
Wow. They were mad
crazy.
as hell, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah, that blew up quick. I had to block so many people, and it's just my inbox was just crazy.
I got the same thing when I did when Matt Nagy did when they had the double doink, and
Yeah,
he does that picture of him, that gif where he's like, what just happened kind of thing, right? So I took
yep,
that and I I quote tweeted, and I was like, oh, coach of the year, right? And I was like, LOL, dude, these Bears fans were just nonstop. They went crazy. I mean, you got to think about it. They traded away 2 first-round picks with Mac, defensive player of the year. They beat us second time. No, we swept them that year, but they still 2018 was a really bad year for us, right? And go to playoffs and then get smoked and lose by like that. Oh, best thing, best medicine ever. Best medicine ever. I love it.
yep.
Love it.
A couple more here. We'll wrap it up, buddy. Um, Favorite game day snack/drink.
Ooh. Man, that's a good call. So we have, damn, that's a dang good call. Honestly, 2 things. So when it comes to my beverages, I need to have a hazy or a juicy IPA. Okay. Or I'm going to shout out my boys, Carry the G Beer by Cheesehead TV. Okay. I like their stuff too. Cream ale is awesome, but I'm a big hazy or juicy IPA guy. So something juicy, something hazy, and it has to be over 7%. Because if I'm going to drink beer, it has to be worth it. And if it's not beer, it has to be a good bourbon or scotch. Need one of the two. Okay. And then normally that's like the victory or the loss drink. When I hit the hard stuff is when either way. Okay. Food, honestly, I I don't really eat when I'm watching the games because I'm normally in knots. Like I am stressed out. I am just all over the place. My stomach is in bubble guts. I'm like anxiety. I've tracked my heart rate before. It's just like this the whole time. So I don't really eat, but after that game's over, I'll get something to eat. Normally, pizza. This place from Paisanos that has really great pizza, maybe chicken wings, or if I'm really in the mood for a Philly cheesesteak sandwich. And there's a couple places. One that's by us called, it's like a halal place that has Philly cheesesteak, which is amazing. And if I go to Philly, I don't go to Pat's and Geno's because they both suck. I'll say that right now. I go to Jim's because Jim's is good. Angelo's, which is a Bradley Cooper thing, which is good. But the best one, hands down, to let everybody know, Little Sicily 2, Philly cheesesteak, mild to medium spice. It's okay. So these guys are Indian jaunt. It's an Indian jaunt that's in Philly. Hands down, one of the best Philly cheesesteaks I've ever had. Just
Yeah,
yeah, they kill it. They absolutely kill it. And that's not because of the Indian thing. I'm just saying these folks know what they're doing, man. I was like, and yeah, when I walk in there, they ain't people like me that are walking in there. They're all nationalities walking to enjoy getting some cheesesteak sandwiches.
absolutely. Yeah, I just for me, it's like if you don't have like I don't know, just probably like cheese and sausage platter. I'm not
Yeah,
really big into when I was, my kids were younger and stuff. We used to make like big spreads for the games and whatnot. And I was just like something simple, I mean,
yeah,
maybe make pizza or have a roast going in the crock pot or
yeah.
something easy. Um, which current player are you trusting to babysit your kids?
Ooh, that's a good question.
My initial answer when I thought of this question was Kenny Clark before he
Yes,
got traded, and then he got traded, so it's not him anymore.
it still would be Kenny. I love Kenny to death. I will not love him this week, but even when he's been getting interviewed by the Packers media, the guy
Yeah,
is so freaking awesome. He is a Packer. He's like Aaron Jones. He's a Packer dude through and through. He'll always be a Packer in my eyes, no matter what, right? So I honestly think if I was going to have someone watch my kids, more than likely I would trust Tucker Kraft because I just think I feel like he'd just be a really good dad. Like he has a girl, I have 2 girls, so I already know he has an inside track on that. He just seems like he's like crazy on the field, and but he seems like really like just a good dude. Also, like his all his charity work and stuff like that when it comes to like Native Americans and stuff just shows me that he has a really good heart. And honestly, Jordan Love, I just feel like Jordan's a good dude. Like I feel like just everything about him, like you've never heard anything negative about that dude. And you kind of think like, is that a red flag, right? Like, is there something there that we don't know about, or is he just like a genuinely a good dude and that's just who he is? And I think that's what that is.
I think you look at Jordan Love's like past, like with his dad and everything. It kind of made him
Absolutely.
super humble and super respectful of
Yes.
what's in front of him and what he's been granted to do. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's I don't know who I'd trust. I'd probably do like I think Zach Tom would be a good babysitter. Or
Yeah, I
Rasheed
can see
Walker.
that. I can see that. I can see Zach being a good babysitter, 100%. I can see Zach. I was gonna say who. That's a good question, man. Christian Watson. I think Christian Watson would be a good dad, a good babysitter too. I
Yeah,
definitely
for
think
sure.
Christian would be good. He's just these guys all just seem like genuinely good dudes. There's the Packers team. I don't really see anybody on there that's like a crazy man or like a person that I couldn't trust with my kids. I just feel like they all come from like good natured, like good. They seem like all good natured people, regardless of how they were raised, or whatever. Because everyone comes from different backgrounds, right? I just all feel like they all got good hearts, which is something you can't always say.
Right. What's your favorite type of cheese?
Oh man, that's tough. I love. I can't narrow it down to one because it's not fair. But Munster was my one for a very long time, and then it became Swiss provolone. Then it became mild and sharp. Like sharp cheddar was like my joint, and then of course Mexican shredded cheese was like off the hook too. Gouda's pretty good. Um, yeah, honestly, I like almost all kinds of cheese. I don't care what it is. I'll try all
Yeah,
of it, and I love it all.
for sure. So I have this really good cheese shop. I timed it. It's 30 seconds from my house. Um,
That's
and
awesome.
so they have it's just out in the country. All of a sudden you drive in and boom, there it is, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they make all their cheese in house, and they have a wide variety of selection inside. And I like hot stuff, and they have a ghost pepper cheese that
Hmm.
is phenomenal. And
Yeah.
then you've heard of Maplewood Meats, right? That's outside of Green Bay. Brett,
Yes, I
Aaron
think I've heard of
Rodgers
it. I
and
went to
Olivia Munn made it popular back when they were dating because they mentioned Maplewood Meats on social media and it just went crazy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
they have a uh, Carolina Reaper cheddar
Oh,
that's really good.
well, that
But
sounds good.
I like the
Little
spicy
spice,
stuff.
little spice, dude. I'm down with that. Heck yeah.
Last question: what
Yeah.
makes Green Bay such a special place?
I think the fact Green Bay, as the team, as the organization, is owned by the fans, even though us being the owners of our team, we don't have very much say in a lot of things the team does. It just there's that feel about that. I feel like you can't really get anywhere else. Also, when you go to Green Bay, um, as a visiting fan or as a fan that's visiting, after you've been there, or you raised there, born there, whatever. I was born there, right? So I'm a home guy, right? But you don't feel like you're out of place when you're there. They just make you feel like you're home, and they respect and love everybody, and they show love, and everyone's just trying to have a good time. It doesn't matter if you're a Bears fan, if you're a Seattle fan, whatever you're a fan. Like the Packers, the Green Bay city, and the people of Green Bay for the most part make you feel welcomed, and I think that you really don't get that anywhere else you go for the most part. Pittsburgh, maybe,
Absolutely.
but for the most part, no. It's like there's nothing like Green Bay.
Absolutely, and even like Parsons said, he goes when he got here, people are like, "Yeah, there's nothing to do," and he's like, "Maybe this is what I needed in my life."
Yeah,
So you know,
just focus
so
on
it,
football. I mean,
yeah, that's
that's
what.
like you listen to like Randall Cobb. He went to Houston. He went to Dallas. He said when he got back to Green Bay, he felt like he was being released from prison. What does that
Yeah,
say? I mean, I'm
yeah,
just
right.
saying, like, it just the grass isn't always greener. Even like Aaron. Aaron went to the Jets, and then he went to Pittsburgh, and then he realized how screwed up things were in the Jets, where he got all this say, and it was nothing like what Green Bay was. And he even made that comment. He realized it after the fact. That's why he changed his tune when he went to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, or even look at Charles Woodson.
Yeah, 100%.
You get done with practice, you go home and you read in his condo. I mean,
Yeah,
versus being in Oakland, getting into trouble with Marquise Anderson. I mean,
yeah.
you know,
All kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, that's the thing. Like, and then and Charles needed that. He needed that reset, right?
yeah,
And he got that in Green Bay, and it was the best thing that probably ever happened to him. And
and then
he
you,
didn't even want to go there. Remember, he didn't even want to come to us at first.
right,
Yeah,
and you look back at
well,
Zadarius Smith getting pulled over on the way back from Chicago. Him and
yeah,
Rashawn Gary and everything. I mean, they're going way out of the way to get in trouble.
yeah, exactly. They were doing whatever they could. That's for damn sure.
Well, listen, man, I want to thank you for being on. Definitely appreciate it, and where can people find you on socials?
Oh man, thank you for having me. I know it's been a long time coming. I can't wait to come back on again. I need to have you on the show. But you can find me at on Twitter X at AMAR3455. We also have a show called Coast to Coast Packers. We have a Twitter page, Instagram. We have also TikTok. And so we're good. We normally do our show every Thursday, but we had some technical difficulties today. And so because of that, we're probably going to go on. Oh, sorry, we're supposed to go yesterday, and then we're supposed to go today. We're probably going to go tomorrow because just a lot of stuff's going on right now. But yeah, that's where you can find us. And yeah, I'm pretty heavily, I'm on Twitter all the time. So definitely people should reach out, follow me, and engage. Send me DMs. Let's talk Packers, talk whatever you want. I'm down.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again for being on, and have a good night.
Thank you, brother. You too, man. Go
Thanks.
back.
Go back. Go.